On this episode of All the Mods 10, we make a super clean setup for Plutonium, Polonium, and HDPE. This is it. This is all the machines for it. And we don't even have an ugly hole facing the sky. We set up the simplest logic for protecting our base from a meltdown and allocate a little area to store nuclear waste. So clean! No! Ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome back. I know it's been a while since we have played on this world for our regular All the Mods series. It's because I was super excited about the No Bees challenge, just because the early game to mid game is really fun, and I've been excited about that. And I actually recorded a bunch of episodes that will slowly come out, but I needed to take a break from that and continue this series as well. So anyways, let's jump into the episode for today. I want to continue working on our mechanism, advanced mechanism section, so we can kind of move forward with this. If you notice, I went ahead and extended this area a bit so we can fit more machines here. It will have to be further expanded in the future, but I think this will do for now. If you also take a look down here, we have a little under section, below reactor section, a little secret room. So we had our fission reactor set up, and this is working. But our original idea was to take the nuclear waste and import it into our AE2 system so we can like use it wherever we want. The problem with that is the radioactive chemical cell had a recipe change a long time ago, and it requires antimatter pellets, which we do not have access to because we need the SPS in order to produce antimatter. And the SPS requires, obviously, polonium, but it also requires, what is the thing? Let's see. It requires polonium pellets, plutonium pellets, and HDPE sheets. So this is what we want to set up today, the HDPE sheets, and then polonium and plutonium. So let's get started with that. But I guess before doing that, I am going to set up a redstone control for our reactor, just so we don't have any accidents. You don't really need it because the easiest way this thing has a meltdown is by getting too hot because you run out of water, because it's hard to keep up with the water. But if you put the eternal water block in an input port, it will keep it completely filled, and this will never have heat issues. But there are a couple of other ways that it can cause radiation. One of those ways being the waste tank fills up. Another one is it sustaining damage, and then what's the other thing? We'll take a look here, and this will tell us. We wanted a reactor logic adapter. So we're going to go ahead and use, can you reset these guys? Let's do that. You're going to go ahead and need 5 fission reactor logic adapters, and this will allow us to kind of take care of this. Where do we want to set up? Before you break open your fission reactor, make sure that you don't have any radioactive waste in there. Otherwise, you will have issues with the radiation. So if you take a look at this, you can see that one is the activation, and we will use this to turn the reactor on and off. So for this logic adapter, we'll put it on activation, and I'm going to go ahead and invert this. So that way, if it does have a redstone signal, it'll turn off rather than it turning on with the redstone signal. And then the other ones, it's high temperature, critical waste level. If you have too much waste built up, critical damage if the damage is too high, and then insufficient fuel. So if you run out of fission fuel, it will also shut down. And over here, we're going to open up 4 more ports for these logics. And the first one I'll put as high temp. The next one we'll put critical waste. The next one damage, and the last one insufficient fuel. And these guys you leave as the normal level. And I'm going to use a, what are these things? These guys for more red. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. So if this gets a redstone signal, if any of these guys output a redstone signal, this whole line will turn on and our reactor will turn off. So, for example, if it's active and is producing things right now, you can see everything's under control. But if we put a redstone block here to activate these guys, you can see as soon as this gets a redstone signal, the whole thing stops. And then when we open that up, it picks back up again. Okay, so we're going to scram that for now. And I guess to further show you, let's take that out. So now the water level is going to run out quickly. And let's turn down the burn rate a little bit, because right now it's super high. So let's go like 200 millibuckets per tick. And you can see that the water level is dropping slowly. And as soon as the water level drops, you will see that the temperature will start to rise rapidly. So there goes the temperature. And then as soon as it reaches that level, you can see that this turns on and then our reactor has stopped. And now it's going to slowly, it's still sustaining damage because it needs to cool down. So we'll put our thing back there. And then you can see that as soon as the temperature's back under control, it kicks back up again. So we'll go ahead and turn it off for now, and the damage will dissipate over time. So this will slowly go down as long as it's cool enough. So that is no problema. And then before we get our chemical cell that we can import into our system, I'm going to use this hatch over here to set up a little processing over here in this room. And of course we need a Super Factory Manager to do that. So let's go ahead and see what that takes. Or should we start with HDPE first? Let's do HDPE first. So in order to make HDPE sheets, you just put these pellets inside of an enrichment chamber. So that's a really easy recipe, just a pattern for the enrichment chamber, which we already have set up. I did that off camera. So if I check enriching factory, you can see that we have that over there. But in order to make the pellets, we need a few things. So we need the pressurized reaction chamber, and we need liquid, ethene, oxygen, and substrate. So in order to get the liquid ethene, we need a condensator that takes ethene to liquid ethene. And then that requires another PRC that takes hydrogen and water and biofuel. And that makes substrate and ethene. And then the substrate is used to combine with oxygen and liquid ethene to produce HDPE pellets. Seems like a lot, not a complicated setup though. So let's take a look at that. We're going to use SFM. Let's grab some cables and things. And we need to set up a wireless connector down here. We already have that one here, but I'll just go ahead and set up another one over here. So let's grab this guy. We'll put him down there. Copy the setup. Let's go over here. Oh, it's down here now. And we can link it up to this guy. /back. Don't need that anymore. And before we forget, let's go ahead and put some greater energy cards in here. Just not that energy really matters for us, but anyways. Do we want that like that? We do. I'm just trying to, I'd like the wireless connector to be, or I'm sorry, the interface. We need an interface. I'm going to break that. Indecisiveness. Here we will put this guy and this guy. Sorry, it needed to be one block higher, so I didn't go crazy. All right, and then we will put our oversized interface here. That will require an induction card so we can power our machines. And then I need to connect it to this guy. So now this guy is connected to our super factory manager, and we also have cables here, which I will bring up to there. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up an electrolytic separator. And also we're going to grab a bunch of upgrades from mechanism. So let's just make 48 of these guys and 10 muffles. All right, we'll put the electrolytic separator here in the middle, and we're going to need to, oops, this doesn't show the power I need. There we go. 4 million is the max. So we have power here. We also need water for the electrolytic separator. So let's put water in our thing, and we'll just do 64 buckets. That's fine. And let's go ahead and put our upgrades into the electrolytic separator. So we want to erase all of this, or we can just click on reset. Okay, so every tick do input FE from interface, and we're going to output FE to electro separator outside. Output. Output is what we meant to say, not output. And let's grab our label gun. Here's the interface. Here's the electrolytic separator. So this is full of power now. Okay, and then we want to take water. So we'll do every 20 ticks do input fluid water from interface, and we're going to output that electrolytic. Okay, I'm going to show you guys something super cool that's new with Super Factory Manager. So let's go ahead and look at our site config for mechanism, and we're going to click this to clear all the settings for fluids, for energy, everything, right? So this shouldn't accept anything from any side, and we'll even turn the side ejections off. Okay, now check this out. So we put that to the electrolytic separator top side. And once we press that, if you take a look at the warnings on the label, it says mechanism block side at blah, 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 blah is used, but it doesn't agree with the statement. And we're going to shift click on that. And now you can see that it's magically fixed. And if we go take a look in here and look at the side config, you can see for fluids, it put the top as the input, as well as for the energy, the top. So you don't even have to set the labels in your mechanism machines. You just write your code in Super Factory Manager, and based on what you assign, like which side you interact with the machine, you can just shift click the exclamation point, and it will literally set the side configs for your mechanism machine. Is that cool or what? This is really useful because when I post my code inside of the in the description below, you guys don't have to worry about setting the right inputs and outputs on the machines. You can just copy the code in and then click on that thing, and it's going to set the side configs for your machines, which is super handy dandy. But anyways, with that being said, now we are producing hydrogen and oxygen, and let's go ahead and see what we need for that. So we need 2 PRCs, and the one on the right will do oxygen, and then left will do hydrogen, right? Okay, so let's do that. Pressure. I'm going to make two other ones. We can delete these just in case. Okay, and again, upgrade these. Now, for the one on the right, I said I wanted oxygen. So, and that is the light blue color, and I'm just going to output from the electrolytic separator directly into it. Sorry, that is chemicals. Output 2 is oxygen. And this guy, again, we'll erase all those. And chemicals on the left side should be input. And then on that blue, on the dark blue, chemicals input 1 should be output. And let's set this guy up. For chemicals, input on that guy, and we turn on auto eject. So now you can see this is filling up with oxygen, this is filling up with hydrogen. So now they're full. And then the PRCs we want to also provide power to. So the first PRC will be for substrate. And then the second PRC will be HDPE. So we'll do PRC substrate, comma, PRC HDPE. And just to make sure, the one with oxygen is the substrate one. So that's this one. So this one will be substrate. And this one will be HDPE. So those guys should be getting powered as long as this inputs are set, which SFM handled for us because we shift clicked that thing. And then that is full. We will have to input excess hydrogen. Do we have hydrogen and oxygen. So I'm going to, here's the thing. If this fills up with hydrogen, then our electrolytic separator will no longer produce oxygen. So we could just turn on dumping excess. That means every time we'll do dumping excess for both. That means anytime one of them fills up, it'll continue to produce the other one. So this machine never stops, and it'll keep both of our PRCs filled up with hydrogen as well as oxygen. Okay, so then we want to make substrate, which requires water and biofuel. And biofuel is easy to get. I went ahead and did it off camera, but you can just put any kind of material inside of a crusher. And I'm using pumpkins because it produces 6. I think the other thing that produces 6 is melons, but pumpkins are cheaper with nature essence. Melons, you have to put one in the middle. It really makes no difference, but this is what I chose. And I went ahead and put it in our requester to keep stock of biofuel. I guess I can show you that really quickly. We go here and look at our requester panel. So every time we run below 128 biofuel, it'll make 5,000 of them. So that way we always have it, and we can just input it over here. So let's take a look at biofuel. We'll keep a stack of those in the interface. And then we want to put that in the HDPE. No, sorry, we want to put that in the substrate one. So let's go ahead and input biofuel from interface. And again, for fluid and FE, we have to define it, but items are assumed by default, so we can just put biofuel, and this is the same thing as doing item colon biofuel. So we just leave it alone. And we're going to output to PRC substrate top side. I like to always insert on the top side. We click that guy. And our substrate is oxygen. Let's take a look. No, substrate is hydrogen. I did this backwards. This guy is HDPE. This guy is substrate. Okay. And then we also need to put the water inside of the substrate one. So let's do that. We can just do it here since we're picking up the water. So we'll output fluid water to PRC substrate topside. Boop. Okay, so this guy is now making substrate. Then we need to take the ethene and, well, the substrate we need to put inside of the other PRC. So let's take care of that. So we will input from PRC substrate bottom side, and we will output to PRC HDPE top side. Boom, boom. And now this is in here. And then all we need here is liquid ethene, and we'll have HDPE pellets. And the way we get that is by making a condensator. So let's make one of those guys. And this I will put, how about over here? Like so. Upgrade it. Reset all of its side configs. Turn off auto ejects. I wish there was a setting where you could just have all the machines be like completely empty like that from the get-go. And I think we want to go this way. We're doing that. And then let's add another guy over here. We'll just call it Condense, also top side. And that'll be this guy. Okay, now this is getting power. And then we need to pick up the ethene in here, which is, oh, is this fluid or is this chemical? It is chemical, okay. So let's deal with that. So we're going to input chemical from PRC substrate bottom side, and we will output chemical to the condense top side. And then we're going to put another forget, and we're going to input fluid from condense. Let's fix this. Condense. Let's also fix this one. Bottom side, and we will output that fluid to the PRC HDPE top side. Boom, boom. Is this working like magic? It is not. Is it not fluid? No, it should be going from the PRC substrate. Ethene is chemical. Let's turn this off because it's annoying. Perhaps it's this. Okay, so that's what it was. So just leave it as it is. You don't have to. It needs to condense, not decondense. Okay, so these guys are all going. Does this thing take any chemical upgrades? It does not. None of these do. Okay, so all of these guys are going, and we are getting HDPE pellets, which we will pick up. Input from PRC HDPE bottom side, and we'll output that to the interface, where it will go to our A2 system, and I already have a cell set up for those. Okay, so now if we take a look in here, we're getting HDPE pellets, and then the sheets and the rods are, the rod is just a crafting recipe, which we have a pattern for, and then the sheet is a processing recipe inside the enrichment chamber, and we have that as well. Okay, so now we have these pellets. Let's go ahead and work on plutonium and polonium. So let's take a look. Plutonium. Oh, it's from mechanism. Plutonium. The way we make this is in another PRC, and we need plutonium and water and fluorite dust. And plutonium comes from an isotopic centrifuge, and we put nuclear waste. The nuclear waste comes out of our fission reactor. So here's our waste tank. It has nuclear waste. So we're gonna need to do that. And again, plutonium comes from an isotopic centrifuge. And then polonium comes from a solar neutron activator. That's the nuclear waste. So the nuclear waste needs to go through a solar neutron activator as well as an isotopic centrifuge to get plutonium and polonium liquids. So let's start with that. We'll grab a isotopic centrifuge. And we also need a solar neutron activator. Let's just make a new one. I was doing some testing on this before, but I'm going to make the new ones just in case something, just so you guys see the whole process. I'm also going to put inventory cables over here, and we'll go with that guy and this guy. And the solar neutron activator does need access to the sun, so it needs daylight and it needs to see the sun. So I'm going to just dig straight up like so. And let's build this up a couple levels just so nothing falls in there. I guess we could do like a little chimney or something. Make it pretty, but it doesn't really matter for now. So that has line of sight to the sky. It won't work right now, obviously, because it is nighttime. So maybe in a future episode, or maybe if we have time in this episode, we can go ahead and automate the sunrise ritual from Ars Nova, so it'll be always daytime, because this won't work at night. Anyways, so we have those guys set up, and these things need power. So let's go ahead and add another line. So we'll do comma, and we'll do, sorry, only the isotopic centrifuge needs power. So iso centrifuge. And we need to label that guy. We can't do this on the top side. So this guy can't accept anything on the top side. So we'll do the back, I guess, which is west. Can I do this top side and then do west side for this guy? Is that gonna work? Let's try this. Top side, comma. West side. Nope, that does not work. So we'll do top side for that guy. And we'll just add oh, come on. Then we'll just add another output FE to isotopic centrifuge west side. Okay, so now this guy has power. All right, and then we need to connect this to our reactor, which is to the waste port over here. And for this, we have our inventory cables. So we can go to here and why don't we go ahead and facade that. And then we will take our fancy inventory cables and go from there to this guy. Okay, so now that's connected to there and it's facaded and it looks pretty. And we can facade these guys with something else. Let's try this block, see how that looks. And you can hold control to facade all of them. I think that looks decent. Maybe you guys can leave suggestions on what you want me to facade this with or what will look pretty. But that kind of looks cool. So I'll leave it. And let's go ahead and set this up. So we are going to put another forget. Actually, why don't we do this one separately? So all of this will be, I'll add comments for you guys. I usually don't do this, but all of this will be for HDPE Production. And then down here, we'll do Polonium / Plutonium Production. Okay, so every 20 ticks do. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, we are going to input chemical from waste port bottom side, and we're going to output should we do round robin? Let's try that. Output chemical to isocentrifuge, comma, what was the other thing? Solar neutron. And we will say west side round robin by label. Round robin by label. So what this is going to do is every time it picks up all the chemical from our fission reactor, it's going to put all of that inside of the isotopic centrifuge, and then the following 20 ticks later, then it's going to put the next one in the solar neutron activator, and it'll go between the two labels. So first it'll output here, and then on the next iteration will output here, and then it'll go back and forth, so on and so forth. That's what round robin by label does. And it's invalid. I believe. Let's do round robin by label. And then we'll do west side afterwards. It's there in the corner. Trust. Okay, so this is working, and I just need to shift click to fix the errors. Not assigned in the world, so we need to assign the solar neutron activator as well as the waste port, which is this guy. Okay, we push those labels, and one of these, so this guy is getting and making plutonium. And then this guy is also getting and making plutonium. Plutonium, polonium. Okay, so let's go ahead and reset all of these. I forgot to do that for that guy. This one was set. Okay. So this guy is making plutonium, and the plutonium needs to go in a PRC with water and fluoride dust to make the polonium pellets. And then the plutonium needs to go into another PRC with water and fluoride dust to make polonium pellets. So let's go ahead and keep fluorite dust here. And this is easy to do. It's another pressure recipe. We already have bees making fluorite for fissile fuel, and we're just gonna make a recipe for the crusher, and the same exact way we did the biofuel, set up a requester thing to keep like a bunch of those in stock. Okay, so while these guys are going, we need to make 2 more PRCs. And we'll put that in front and reset all these guys. Turn off the auto eject. Okay, so we need to give those guys power, and I can just call those PRC. So we'll just use normal PRC. I guess we'll add another line up over here. We will output FE2 PRC. Top side. Should we call this? You guys will understand, right? The normal PRC is going to be the label for both of these that are producing plutonium and polonium. So that guy and this guy. Right. So they're getting power now. Do we have them upgraded? No. Let's upgrade those guys, and we will no longer need those. So we could use Super Factory Manager to move the waste into here, but since they're touching, we can just output to the front. So here's the front. We're going to output and turn auto eject on, and it'll go to this machine. And for chemicals, we are going to, from the back, put it on input. So this is now full of plutonium. Same thing over here. It's going to receive chemicals from the back. And this guy is going to output to the front, auto eject on. Okay, so this is full of polonium. And then both of those guys need water. So let's add it down here. We're going to need a forget input fluid water from interface and output fluid water to PRC topside. Boom, boom. Okay, so these guys have plutonium and water, and this guy has polonium and water, and we need fluorite dust in both of those. And we are going to do another forget and input fluorite dust. Oops. Yeah, no, fluorite underscore dust from interface, and we'll output retain 10 to each PRC topside. And that'll make sure we always have 10, and that should keep up. Okay, so that made plutonium pellets. This guy made polonium pellets, and we have spent nuclear waste, which we need to get rid of. But let's take care of the items first. The plutonium and the polonium. So we're going to input items from PRC bottom side, and we can just output those to interface. Okay. And we click that, and those should have gone. Yep. So if we look at plutonium, we have those 10. Polonium, we have these 10. The pellets. And now we need to deal with the waste. So let's just make a bunch of these waste barrels. And we will grab our building gadget. Should we put... I think I'll put it in the floor. So let's open this up. And this whole edge, or this whole, we'll see if this is enough. And so there's the building gadget. And we need the exchanging gadget. We'll put inventory cables here. Oops. And we'll use the exchanging gadget to... So those are all inventory cables now. Then we put down these guys. Okay, and I think that should be enough for now. Let's go ahead and grab our facade or our network tool. And we're going to use... never mind. Let's do these guys. And we'll leave those ones alone. Okay, so those are set up, and now we come over here. Oh, it's raining. And we deal with the waste. Okay, we're going to input chemical from PRC bottom side and output to... How do we want to do this? I was doing some testing and I had issues getting Superfactor Manager to put specific amounts, like output specific amounts to the barrels. I'm going to do it anyways. Let's take a look. So these guys, this has 10,000 millibuckets, and this one also has 10,000. So every time we pull, assuming that these are full, we can only take 20,000 millibuckets of spent nuclear waste at a time. And how many of these do we have? So we have 117 barrels, and we can do 20,000 millibuckets. So if we do 20,000 millibuckets divided by 117, that gives us 170.9. So we can do 200, right? So we'll output 200 millibuckets of the chemical. 200 chemical to each waste barrel. Okay. And we need to label waste barrel. And I forgot to put the sides, so we'll do top side for the waste barrel. Again, hold Control to label all of them at once. Whoa, whoa, settle down, bud. All right, and we're gonna do top side for that. Shift click. Okay, so that's going, and it looks like we only get about 2,000 at a time. So if we take a look in here, you can see that it doesn't work that great, because see, like some of them are empty and others have more than 200, which shouldn't happen. But for some reason it is. The reason why you want to spread it out is because each waste barrel slowly decays over time. So you can see it's going down 2 millibuckets every second or so. And if you spread it out between all of them, then you have 117 of them decaying versus only half of them, for example, because the other half are sitting here empty. So that's why you want to spread it out. But for some reason, it's not working. I'll see if there's a bug or something going on with that. Okay, so now we have, you know, again, from the previous few episodes, well, a few previous episodes ago, we set up our fissile fuel and our reactor, but now we have the logic for it, and plutonium, we're taking care of the waste also. So this is all set up. So if we go ahead and activate this guy, you can see we're using all that. Oh, we can turn this up to max. So the maximum is 574 buckets per tick for our size reactor. So max burn rate. And this is building up. Looks like our round... Oh, this isn't working at all because it's nighttime. So let's go home and sleep. And go back. How about now? Is this... keeping up somewhat? We could always add more of these machines. And it's pretty easy with Super Factory Manager. Should we do that? Yeah, why not? Let's do that. So I'll open up these guys, put more cables there. Open up those guys, put more cables there. We need 2 more PRCs. We need another solar neutron activator, and we need another isotopic centrifuge. We need to dig another hole. And since we already have those guys set up, we can use the copying card for mechanism, this guy, the configuration card, and copy the settings from that and push it into that, and then copy from this, push into that, copy from this, push into that, copy from this, push into that. So these guys should all be set up with their side configs like how they are. We can see that this should be getting power. Because it's not labeled yet. So we want PRC, which will be those 2. Then the isotopic centrifuge. I want to do the bottom block. It's going to bother me. I think it still works, but it's fine. Do that. And then we want the solar neutron activator, which will be, again, that guy. And don't forget to push your labels. Okay, so these are all working. We need upgrades. You guys are so loud. Please be quiet. I wish you could silence the reactor too. What is, I guess we could do this. Where is the reactor hum? Fission reactor. That's the one. We will just make it quieter. How about 25% volume? That's better. Okay, let's make 48 more of these upgrades. And do this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. And this guy doesn't take any upgrades. Okay, so this should be keeping up now, hopefully. Or going down. Looks like it's going down, yep. Cool. So now we can fully utilize all of the waste coming out of our reactor. And we're producing plutonium and polonium and HDPE. We have 800 of those already. That is great. Why is this not working? This is full. Dean is full. What is this? Liquid ethene. From this machine. Should we trash ethene or keep it in our system? Ethene is a chemical. Let's put it in our chemical cell. Partition this for ethene. Yeah, because when it backs up like this, everything stops. So now so we will keep ethene inside of our interface. And instead of grabbing it from the PRC substrate, which is this guy, right? We'll grab it from our interface. So chemical, I believe it's just called ethene, right? From interface. And then what we need to do is input the chemical from PRC substrate, bottom side, and put that chemical to interface. Okay. So now we should be getting the buildup of ethene inside of our chemical cell. And then just keep it stocked in here. So now it won't get backed up inside of this PRC. And this will continue to make HDPE. Hey, you guys, quick interruption. Look at this. I was able to figure out a way to close up the hole so it doesn't look hideous, and these guys still work. The way I achieved that is by using camel. And if you guys don't know how camel works, I'll give you, it's basically a way to disguise any block as another one. So you make these camel block things, which is just 5 pieces of dye. It needs white, blue, and then these guys can be any dye, I think. Oh no, never mind. This is exactly what it needs. Anyways, ignore that. So you combine it with any block that you want to give the appearance of. So I want these guys to appear as the white Luminix blocks. So you combine it with those, and then you get these camo things. And any transparent block should allow the sunlight to pass through for the solar neutron activators to work. And I went ahead and used glass, just normal, regular glass from Minecraft. So you put the glass down with these camo blocks. I'll just show you. So you put the glass down, and you can see these still work. And then you have these camo things, and then you just right click it on there, and it works like that. So let's go up to our right over here where we have this hideous thing. And we can also solve this by putting 2 pieces of glass over here and then doing the camo with 2 pieces of grass. Boom, boom. Check that out. So let's go ahead and go double check. Oh, how clean is that? This is very exciting. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.